Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you an American horror film, 30 Days of Night. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins in an isolated place, which is 80 miles of roadless wilderness, and the sun doesn't come up for 30 days during winter. Then we see a stranger standing at a cliff and looking at a ship in the sea. He starts walking and arrives near a small town in Alaska called Barrow. In the next scene, two of the town's sheriffs named Evan and Billy are seen investigating a pile of burnt satellite phones. Since it's the last day of sun, they look at the sun setting on the horizon. On the way to the town, the sheriff named Billy changes the population on the welcome board sign. At the town, we can see some of the people preparing to leave to spend the month elsewhere. At the kennel, we can see a hand stabbing all the dogs to death. Evan gets informed of this gruesome act and prepares to go to the kennel. At the same time, a fire marshal named Stella gets into an accident after getting hit by a truck. Fortunately, she's not hurt, and she calls Sheriff Evan to pick her up and give a lift to the airport. He says that he is busy and that he needs to go to investigate the dogs. He ends the call saying that Billy will pick her up. Evan reaches the dog kennel and sees all the dogs mutilated. The owner is very pissed and curses at the killer. Evan leaves the place assuring them that he'll find the person responsible. He arrives at the station, and his grandmother tells him about the vandalism at the utility, a power and sewage treatment plant. We get to know that his grandmother works at the sheriff's station as its communications operator. Billy and Stella reach the airport, but they are too late and Stella is stuck in the town for the next 30 days. Evan reaches the utility, and the worker shows his muffin monster. Another man named Wilson complains to the sheriff that he found his helicopter ripped apart in half. At the communication center of the town, the worker gets alerted by a strange noise outside, so he goes to check it out. He is soon surrounded by a mysterious group of people who start moving around him in circles. Suddenly, one of them starts to bite on his neck and kills him. The strange man whom we saw at the beginning of the movie is seen sitting at the local diner. He asks the waitress for liquor and a raw hamburger, but she refuses the order, saying that alcohol is not allowed for the next 30 days, and meat is either served frozen or burnt. The man gets angry and pulls the waitress' hand. Luckily, Evan arrives in time and orders the man to let go of the poor woman's hand. He asks the stranger to step outside the diner and have a small talk with him. But when he refuses, Stella puts a gun to his head, ordering him to do as Evan says. They arrest the man and take him to the station. In another part of the town, we see three people talking about whose home they should go to have a three-way hormone let go. Suddenly, one of them gets snatched away by a dark figure. His body drops from the top, frightening them both. The girl runs away scared, and the man looks in horror. At the sheriff's station, the strange man is locked up. Evan questions him on his whereabouts, but the man doesn't utter a word and just smiles. So he goes to his desk and finds a stash of weed in it. His brother tells him that it's their grandma's, and it helps with her cancer. His grandmother confesses that she is growing it in her indoor greenhouse. All the communication networks get cut off, and when Evan prepares to go meet a worker in the communication center, the stranger begins to start spouting some bullshit, scaring them a little. Evan goes to the center and is shocked to find the door open, and he does not get a reply when he calls for the man. He sees a bloody trail on the snow and follows it. He is shocked the moment he finds the worker's head on a pike. Evan rushes to the town and alerts everyone to stay indoors. Later we can see the kennel owner sitting on his couch with his rifle in front of him. A man-like creature crashes into the kitchen and abducts his wife. The kennel owner runs after them, but the creature drags her under the house. As the man looks under, the creature scratches his face, wounding him. Moments later, it breaks his leg and drags away his wife. Back at the station, the stranger begins his bullshit again. The younger brother gets angry at the madman and throws a piece of plastic at him. When he goes to pick it back, the man grabs his neck and begins choking him. Evan arrives in time and shoots him in the shoulder. He cuffs both of the hands to the bar above him and treats his wound. Evan and Stella leave the place and go into the town. On the way, a creature jumps on top of the car and begins smashing to get in. Stella shows off her amazing driving skills and gets rid of the creature. In the town, they see a burning car flipped upside down. Suddenly they hear the granny's cries on the car's radio and rush back to the station. They see the stranger alive in his cell, but could not find both his granny and his younger brother. Few people gather at the local diner, and one of them says that the creatures do not die after getting shot, and they don't feel any bullets. We also get to know that they feed on the people's blood. The creatures begin hunting all the people in the town to satisfy their hunger. In their defense, people try to shoot them, but it's of no use. Eben and Stella arrive at the diner, and he gets happy after seeing his younger brother alive. Eben and the others start formulating a plan, and a lady suggests to them a place that has an attic, further adding that it's well hidden. Eben orders them to go to the place, while he gathers up supplies and weapons for them. Stella goes along with Eben to help him. They start driving fast, and their car is suddenly stopped. When Eben looks back, he sees a group of creatures lifting up the car to prevent them from moving. They lift up the car higher until it flips over. As the creatures start pulling Stella out, a bearded man drives a bulldozer over the creatures and slams it on a wall, killing them. The two of them escape the car and run over to the bearded man's dozer. The trio escapes and goes to the attic they planned to go earlier. When they reach the house, they move in silently. When Eben opens up the attic, and they find the rest of the group safe inside, his younger brother says that the creatures fed on his grandmother, and they seem to be like vampires. Back at the station, the vampire leader goes to the stranger and thanks him for completing the tasks as he was told. Now it's revealed that at the beginning of the movie, the stranger had been sent to this town by the vampires to complete the tasks, and the large ship that the stranger was looking at might be the ship that these vampires used to travel. The vampire boss kills the stranger by twisting his head. Sometime later at the attic, an old man who has dementia wakes up suddenly yelling for his wife. His son calms him down, saying that his mom died a long time ago. As the vampires ransack a nearby place, one of the men gets scared and argues about leaving the place. Eben stops the argument, saying that if they fight, they will all get killed a lot faster. After 7 days, they hear a young woman walking down the street, asking for help. A man wants to help her, but Eben stops him after looking at the rooftops around her. The vampires use the woman as bait to lure the other people out. The woman reaches the end of the street, but nobody comes to her cries. The vampires then start hurting the woman, and eventually kills her. In the next scene, we see Eben going out to the store to gather supplies. Suddenly, he hears someone calling out his name. He looks under a house, and finds the kennel owner hiding under. Eben makes his way to the owner, and lifts him up. To his shock, he finds the owner turned into a vampire. The owner tries to bite him, but he manages to escape. The owner gets caught in a swing, and couldn't free himself. Eben gets hold of an axe, and decapitates him. After going back to the house, he collapses down on the floor from exhaustion. While everyone is resting, the old man Isaac gets up and goes down silently. His son and Stella follow him downstairs, and calm him down. Later, Isaac goes in to use a bathroom, but uses the opportunity to escape. Stella gets knocked out, while trying to stop the son from going after his father. Eben wakes up from the noise, and goes downstairs looking for them. While speaking with Stella, a vampire with Mr. Ugly enters the house. The two of them hide themselves, and wait for Mr. Ugly to leave. The vampire leaves the house, when it hears the man calling for his father outside. After some time, the remaining group members go out to the departmental store, using the blizzard to cover themselves from the vampires. They successfully reach the store, and Eben assigns them different supplies to collect. Suddenly, they hear a noise. When the group goes to investigate it, they all are shocked by a young vampire girl feed on one of the members. Eben goes to kill her, but she escapes from him. The group finally grabs her, and manages to put her up a wall. She finally gets killed, after the younger brother decapitates her using an axe. This scene in particular made me rethink my decision to have kids. The blizzard stops, and they have to stay in the store. After 10 days, Eben decides that this is not a safe place for them, and that they should go to Utilitaire as soon as possible. Stella gets an idea to use the UV light at Eben's granny's greenhouse to kill the vampires. Eben agrees to this plan, and heads to the house. After reaching her place, he starts up the generator and powers the house. This attracts a large number of vampires towards him, and using the opportunity, the rest of the group leaves the store. On the way, a vampire suddenly jumps on one of the men, and kills him. The rest of them run, and take shelter in the sheriff's station. At the granny's home, Eben locates the light, and prepares it to face towards the door. The vampires gather around, and the boss's girlfriend runs towards the door. When she opens it, Eben uses the light to burn her. She falls back and starts whimpering. Stella contacts Eben, and he says that the light worked successfully. While speaking, the vampires cut off the power to the house. Eben escapes using the back door, right before the leader comes inside. The leader comes to his hormone partner and tells her that what is broken must be broken in their language before killing her. The bearded guy drives a truck with a big chainsaw on its front and manages to kill most of the vampires before blowing himself up. This gives an opportunity for Eben to escape and regroup with the others at the station. A group member confesses that he was wounded and is now a vampire. After the man willingly accepts to die, Eben kills him using the axe. A few days later, they see the other sheriff Billy signaling them using a flashlight from a nearby house. Eben and Stella run over and find out that he had murdered his wife and his 2 daughters to save them from a gruesome death. They go back to the station and leave for the utility together. They get separated while trying to save a young girl named Gail. After reaching the utility, they realize that Stella has been left behind. A vampire who is following the 2 men suddenly attacks Billy, biting him in the neck. After quite a struggle, they manage to kill the vampire by pushing it into the muffin monster. But in the process, Billy's hand gets ripped off. When he starts turning into a vampire, Eben kills him using the axe. The vampire boss commands all the other vampires to set the town on fire in order to not reveal their existence. They break the nearby oil pipes and set the whole town on fire. After being separated from the group, Stella and Gail hide under a car to escape the vampires near them. Eben realizes that Stella is trapped and that he cannot beat the vampires in his current state. So Eben turns himself into a vampire by injecting himself with Billy's infected blood. He confronts the vampire leader and they get into a vicious fight. After quite a struggle, Eben finally kills him by punching through his mouth, leaving a hole in his head. Since their leader is now killed, the remaining vampires flee from the town. Knowing he will die soon, Eben and Stella go off to watch the sunrise together, sharing one last tongue massage. As the sun comes up, Eben's body burns to ash in Stella's arms. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Peace out.